If you don't want to be like everyone else, broke, stressed, and stuck in a never-ending cycle, you need to focus on one thing: making your first $10,000. When I was 18, I had no money and no qualifications. But I did have big ambitions. Instead of obsessing over becoming a millionaire overnight, I gave myself a smaller goal that felt possible. I wanted to make my first $10,000. Now, as someone who has built wealth from scratch, I can honestly say that first $10,000 was the hardest. But once I reached it, everything changed. It was not only about the money, it proved something important to me. Making money is a skill, not just luck. Once I learned how to make $10,000 one time, I knew I could do it again. And if I could repeat it, I could eventually turn it into real wealth. So if I had to start from zero today and make my first $10,000 all over again, this is exactly how I would do it. Most people make this much harder than it needs to be. They jump into crypto because a friend made money. Or they try day trading because some online guru promised riches. The problem is that both of those paths need money, experience, emotional control, and a lot of luck. They are not reliable side hustles for beginners, and they should never be treated as your main income source. Think of them as tools that can multiply money later. But when you are just starting out, you need something simple. Something that does not require much cash up front. Something that can put money in your pocket quickly. When you remove all the noise, there are really only a few paths worth considering. Some are fast but harder to scale. Some can scale bigger but take more time. And the choice matters more than most people think. The first option is selling in-person services. This includes things like personal training, delivery driving, dog walking, nail design, barbering, cleaning, photography, videography, and many other simple local services. These may sound basic, but they are one of the fastest ways to start earning. You should not look down on them. They let you get paid almost immediately. They are also cheap to begin. Usually, you only need a skill, a few basic tools, and the willingness to speak to real customers. If you choose this route, do not waste weeks building a website. Do not spend all your time designing a logo. Do not start with ads. Just go out into your local area, find people who need help, do the job well, and collect the money. I did this when I was younger. I used to walk around wealthier neighborhoods and offer to wash people's cars. I would look for clean gardens and dirty vehicles. That might sound random, but there was a reason behind it. If someone cared about keeping their garden perfect, there was a good chance they also wanted a clean, shiny car sitting in the driveway. It was simple, but it worked. The downside is that local services are limited. You are limited by your area. You are limited by the number of people nearby, and you are limited by your own time. Some months can be busy. Other months can feel painfully slow. Even when demand is strong, you can usually only serve one person at a time. That puts a ceiling on how much you can earn in a day. So, in-person services are great for getting started, but after a while, they can start to feel restrictive. The second option is selling local products. This means things like homemade food, handmade items, artwork, fresh produce, custom crafts, and other physical goods. This can be a good way to make money, especially if you enjoy making things. But it usually does not create cash as quickly as services. With a service, you finish the work and get paid. With products, you often have to buy materials first. Then you have to make the product. Then you have to find someone willing to buy it. I tried this myself. After making some money washing cars, I used part of the profit to buy model airplane parts. I built the planes by hand and sold them at the RC Flying Club that I visited on weekends. At first, I loved it, but I quickly realized the numbers were not great. I was spending a lot of time and making very little profit. That was hard to accept because I genuinely enjoyed building them. But most of the money was being swallowed by the cost of materials, and my customer base was too small. There were not enough people willing to pay what I needed to make it worth my time. So local products can be enjoyable. They can help you earn from something you love. But if your goal is to make $10,000 quickly, you have to be honest about the math. The third option is selling global products. This includes things like a clothing brand, drop shipping, sneaker reselling, print on demand, digital products, and other products that can be sold online. Unlike local services or local products, global products give you a much bigger market. You are no longer limited to your town or city. Anyone, anywhere, can become a customer. That creates far more opportunity. I was so excited about selling globally that I even traveled to China to work with a manufacturer and produce my own model airplane designs. You do not have to go that far today. Drop shipping, print on demand, and online marketplaces make it much easier now. But the principle is still the same. Global products can scale much bigger, but they often require patience. When I started, things moved slowly. Every sale created another need to reinvest. If I sold 10 items, I needed to buy 20 more to keep growing. Instead of taking profit out, my money kept going back into inventory. It felt like an endless restocking cycle. Was it worth it in the long run? Yes. But this path works best if you can wait 1 to 3 months before momentum really starts building. Once it is running properly, it can become one of the most passive ways to make money that actually works. The fourth option is selling online services. This is the option I would choose today if I wanted to make money as fast as possible. There are so many online services you can offer: copywriting, video editing, thumbnail design, paid ads, social media management, website design, email marketing, short-form content editing. The list keeps going. Online services combine two huge advantages. You get the global reach of an online business, but you also get the high margins of a service. With physical products, you might make a 20 or 30% margin, and much of that has to be reinvested. With services, your margins can be much higher. Often, most of the money goes straight into your pocket, and you can start making money almost immediately. All four options can help you reach $10,000. But if I had to start from zero today, I would focus on selling online services. The next question is simple. What online service should you offer? Start by asking yourself 3 things. What are you already good at? What do you enjoy learning about? And what problems do businesses always need solved? The best opportunity is where those answers overlap. Most people get stuck here. They spend months trying to perfect a skill before they ever offer it to anyone. That is backwards. You need real-world experience as quickly as possible. Start slightly below the normal market rate. Your goal in the beginning is to earn and learn at the same time. Then, once you have proof, you can raise your price. To turn a high-income skill into real money, you need to understand 4 things. The first is positioning. Not all services are equal. The real money is in helping businesses make more money. Businesses think about spending differently than individuals. If a business makes $50,000 a month, Spending $2,000 to solve a serious problem is not a big decision. As long as your work helps them earn more, save time, or increase sales, they can justify paying you. Businesses always have problems. They need more customers. They need better systems. They need stronger content. They need to stand out. They need to convert more leads into sales. These problems never disappear, and companies are always willing to pay for someone who can solve them. Some industries also have more money than others, so if you position yourself better, you can make real money faster. Instead of being a video editor for tiny channels with no budget, you could edit videos for entrepreneurs who sell profitable products. Instead of making random thumbnails for anyone, you could become the main designer for an established creator. Instead of writing cheap articles, you could write landing pages that help businesses turn visitors into buyers. This is not always about learning more skills. It is about placing your skill where money is already being made. The second thing is leverage. You will struggle to reach $10,000 if you only charge for your time. Businesses do not really pay for effort. They pay for outcomes. If you stop pricing based only on hours and start pricing around the value you create, you can earn much more. Let's say you run Facebook ads. If you charge by the hour, you are stuck with a fixed rate, and the client will always want fewer hours. But if your work brings in more customers, the conversation changes. Now they are not only thinking about cost, they are thinking about profit. When a business sees that your work makes them money, they become much more willing to pay. The same applies to social media management. If you only schedule posts and reply to comments, you are easy to replace. But if your strategy brings more engagement, more leads, and more sales, you become valuable. The moment you change your pitch from what you do to what they gain, people become willing to pay a lot more. The third thing is reach. One of the biggest mistakes beginners make is thinking they always have to chase clients. In the beginning, some outreach is normal, but from day one, you should also think about how clients can find you. Put your work online, show examples, show before and after results. Show your process. Show what you are learning. Recently, imagine someone needs a designer for a very specific style of project. The first thing they might do is search on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, or LinkedIn. If your work appears again and again, you become the obvious person to contact. That is why you should publish your work early, even if you are still learning, even if you are doing it for fun, even if you do not feel ready yet. Opportunities often come from being visible. If you edit videos, show before and after clips. If you design thumbnails, explain why one design gets more attention than another. If you manage social media, document how you are growing an account from scratch. Your content becomes proof, and proof makes selling much easier. The fourth thing is reliability. Most people who try to start a side hustle fail before they ever build momentum. And one of the biggest reasons is simple. They are not reliable. They promise to deliver on time, then miss the deadline. They communicate badly. They disappear when the client needs an update. They make the whole process stressful. The thing that will make you stand out is not always talent. It is reliability. Some of the highest paid freelancers are not the most naturally gifted people. They are the most organized. They deliver when they say they will. They communicate clearly. They make the client's life easier. Being good at your skill matters, but being dependable is what gets you paid again and again. So you need a system. Do not rely on memory. Do not rely on messy notes. Track your clients. Track deadlines. Track conversations. Track follow-ups. Use a calendar, a spreadsheet, a simple CRM, or any system that keeps you organized. The tool is less important than the habit. Clients do not just want someone talented, they want someone they can trust. Once you start making money, the next step is even more important. You have to keep it. I do not care how much you earn. Until you have serious money saved and invested, you should not waste your income trying to look successful. The supercars do not matter. The designer clothes do not matter. The expensive nights out do not matter. None of it matters if you cannot turn income into long-term wealth. Rich-looking people spend to impress. Wealthy people use money to create more money. So once you start earning, you need to build the habit of investing. This is not financial advice. It is simply the way I think about money. I like to see investing on a risk scale. At the safer end, there is cash. Then there are index funds. Then individual stocks. Then higher risk assets like cryptocurrency. The first place I keep money is a high-interest savings account. The name sounds impressive, even if the interest rate is not always exciting. The point is not to get rich from it. The point is access and safety. Some accounts offer higher rates if you lock your money away. But I do not want all my cash trapped. I want money available when life happens. Some people will say this is not investing, and technically they are right. It is mainly holding cash. But cash gives you flexibility. If the market crashes and you suddenly need money, you do not want to sell investments at a loss. That is how people turn a temporary market drop into a permanent bad decision. A savings buffer protects you. It helps you handle emergencies without destroying your long-term plan. The second investment is index funds. You have probably heard people say that the price of a coffee each day can eventually make you a millionaire. That idea usually comes from long-term index investing. Index funds and ETFs can be powerful because they are simple and low maintenance. Instead of trying to pick one winning company, you can invest in a basket of many companies. The S&P 500 is one of the most famous examples. It gives you exposure to many of the largest public companies in America. Some people also invest in total stock market funds or global stock market funds. Others add emerging market funds for broader exposure. The exact fund depends on your country, your platform, and your personal situation. But the main idea is simple. You invest consistently. You stay patient. You let time and compounding do the heavy lifting. Over long periods, markets have historically rewarded patient investors. That does not mean returns are guaranteed. But for many people, simple index investing is one of the cleanest ways to build wealth over decades. If you want to speed it up, you do not need a secret strategy. You usually need a higher savings rate, more consistency, and more time in the market. The third investment is individual stocks. This is where investing can feel more exciting. Individual stocks let you own specific companies directly. They can teach you a lot. When I first started investing, picking individual companies made me more curious. I wanted to understand financial statements. I wanted to know how businesses made money. I wanted to learn what made one company stronger than another. Putting some of my own money at risk made the learning feel real. That is the benefit. Individual stocks can make you more engaged, but they also come with more risk. One company can rise quickly, another can fall hard. With an index fund, one company is only part of the basket. With an individual stock, your result depends much more on that specific business. That can create bigger gains, but it can also create bigger losses. So if you are new, individual stocks should be handled carefully. They can be useful for learning, but they should not become gambling. Do your research, understand the business, know why you are buying, and never put money in just because everyone online is excited. The fourth investment is cryptocurrency. When Bitcoin first appeared, many people dismissed it immediately. It sounded strange. It was digital. No company controlled it. No government issued it. For people used to property, stocks, or traditional assets, that felt risky and confusing. Over time, more people started paying attention. Bitcoin and Ethereum became harder to ignore. Some investors have made serious money from them, but crypto is still volatile. Prices can move violently. Excitement can turn into panic very quickly. There are also smaller coins that can rise fast and collapse even faster. For every person who gets lucky, there is someone else who loses money just as quickly. That does not mean crypto has no place, but it does mean you need caution. If you choose to invest, move slowly. Understand what you are buying. Use dollar cost averaging if it suits your plan. Avoid chasing hype, and only risk money you can afford to lose. The big picture is this. Your first $10,000 is not just money. It is proof. It proves you can create value. It proves you can sell. It proves you can stay disciplined. And it proves that making money is a repeatable skill. Start with a simple path. Sell a service if you want speed. Choose a market that can pay. Position your work around results. Show your work publicly. Become reliable. Then protect the money you make. Save some, invest some. Avoid wasting it to look rich. Because the goal is not to make money once. The goal is to become the kind of person who knows how to make it, keep it, and grow it.